Gib's 430 customs and police officers, tackling everything from smugglers to tourists in trouble, saving lives, the waters around Gibraltar are some of the busiest in the world, and it's the job of Gibraltar Customs to help police them round the clock. And tonight, Officers John Cartwright and Arturo Asquez are on patrol.
I was born in London, but my parents are local, so I come over at the ripe old age of 10. So I was brought up Gibraltarian, and I consider myself a Cockney Gibraltarian.
And he's pleased to have a top crew with him tonight.
Good thing for my crew in particular is we've got a couple of lads that have got really good eyesight. I'm sure they've had a load of carrots when they were younger. I've got Johnny Cartwright, who's my assistant coxswain, and he is like eagle eye himself, sniper vision. There's not many things that go through the night that he can't see.
I was born here. I'm the only one in my family that was. I left Gibraltar when I was 17 because I joined the army, so I've done a lot of travelling, and now I've come back to Gibraltar. I've been here for 5 years now as a Marine officer. Those ones. Yeah, they were there yesterday. They could be used to hide people in.
North Africa is just 9 miles away across the Straits of Gibraltar.
I think it was calculated last year, something like 80% of the cannabis going into Europe was going through these coastlines.
And with the right boats, it's a quick trip for the smugglers.
So as you can see, Morocco's a stone's throw away. The ribs they're using, they'll get across 20-25 minutes tops.
RIB stands for Rigid Hold Inflatable Boats, the smuggler's boat of choice.
So they're bringing across 2.5 tons, 3 tons at a time. But looking at the coastline, you can see there's miles and miles of it. So just imagine how hard it is for the enforcement agencies to try and stop it. It's near on impossible, really.
It's not just cannabis being smuggled. Gangs are keen to exploit Gibraltar's comparatively low tobacco taxes by smuggling huge quantities over the border into Spain.
That light's flashing in like last night, remember?
It is still there.
Yeah, it's probably something a boy or something.
So with the organised gangs, what they're doing lately, they'll have 2 or 3 teams, if you like, ready to unload.
The gangs use spotters on land to monitor the whereabouts of the customs boat.
I can see people up here. It's about 11 o'clock. So you get the spotters up at the top there as well.
There's a car there with its lights on.
Old pros John and Arturo know every trick in the book.
So 9 times out of 10 in the estate, they'll say they're waiting for their girlfriends or something. Oh, I've just come and seen my girlfriend. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Usually, when the spotters see the customs patrolling, the smugglers hang back, but desperate times call for desperate measures.
Looks to be where the light's flashing, and maybe it's
to the left of that.
Oh, something's moving right to the left. See, it's going into Eastern now. See it? There's a wake right in front of you now. 11 o'clock. Head that way. It's a bandera. Head that way. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? It's around here somewhere. I saw the wake and everything. They're on the beach. It's on the beach.
Gibraltar customs officers John and Arturo have spotted what could be a smuggler's boat ahead of them.
Call outfield.
An outfit?
Yeah, could be. Yeah, he's gonna come. He's loaded. Let's go. Stand by. He's throwing stuff. Here we go. Oh, no, the water! It's coming behind you now. Stand by. Yeah, he's coming, Vincent. In the water. Man in the water, let's go. Man in the water.
John and Arturo face a snap decision: continue the chase or save the man in the water.
He's coming in. He's gone, he's left him.
Pick him up.
In reality, it's no choice. The heavily laden smuggling boat has had a lucky escape. And so is the Spanish suspect they hauled out of the sea.
Check him.
Once we were approaching Eastern Beach, I spotted a wake of a boat coming in, and they've come onto Eastern Beach to load up. roughly 12 to 15 boxes, and basically they tried to evade us. We'll probably hand them over to our ground crew now. They call me the spotter. The spotting spotter. Hey Arthur, that's another spot for me, isn't it?
Another spot, yeah. Eagle eyes.
Eagle eyes. Told you.
The worst thing that can happen there is they get run over by them. Normally when it turns to right, to the starboard, if you like, they'll fall over the port side. So there's a big chance of them running themselves over. I reckon there was 3 of them, including him. He's pretty lucky, he's well kitted out. But sometimes they'll just go out in trousers and t-shirt. If they get hit by the prop or by the engine, it's game over. There's a major high percentage of unemployment in Spain. And there's a load of different things they can be doing, but unfortunately, some of them choose to do this. We're here to stop them, they're here to try and get away.
This time, it's a result for John and Arturo.
I don't know what it is with me, but I've got this sixth sense. What eyes, eh, mate? What eyes?
Yeah, can't argue with that, mate.
The suspects will have plenty of questions to answer back on land. After rescuing a suspected smuggler off the eastern side of the rock, Arturo and John are bringing him into the western side harbour for questioning.
Look. There's spotters there, 3 of them. See them hiding? They're watching us. That's very frustrating. That's always frustrating. But you can see how manoeuvrable they are. They're very manoeuvrable, very fast, and and it goes to show how fast they can turn. That they managed to evict one of the guys from the boat.
Alerted by their lookouts, smugglers rush to exploit John and Arturo being back on land.
Well, there it comes, see it? Right to the left.
You can hear them now, yeah.
No, that's not small red. That's either the police or... No, that's a Badella. That, what you can hear, is a 2-stroke engine of the little Zodiacs that transfer the tobacco from Emerson's, where we were earlier, over to the Spanish side. But this is that they know sometimes when we're dealing with something, because we haven't got the manpower to get another boat out, they'll risk it.
It's just ridiculous. The way they're driving recently is absolutely ludicrous, and sooner or later there's going to be another fatality.
Apparently they knew we were coming. They were that desperate to get the boxes out, they said to do the run. Normally they'd stop, they'd see us coming and go, let's not do this. But today, that's what you're saying, you're feeling a bit greedy, and you wanted to try and get the boxes through, well, even with us coming.
Whoever's getting rich from smuggling, one thing's certain, it's not the mules risking their lives at sea.
He
Basically,
says,
there's no work, so he has to feed himself.
and his family. Tiene familia?
He's got 3 kids. In La Linea especially, there's a really high percentage of unemployment, and some people see it as easy money. Others, as you can see, like him tonight, it's not as easy and can be quite dangerous at times.
La Linea is the nearest town across the border in Spain.
¿Qué cobra tú? Me está preguntando en una
Por la caja.
2
euros
per box.
And that will be, ¿cuánto caja viene en el barco? Does he say? Yeah. So that's 10 boxes, and there's 3 of them on board. It's €2 each box. You work it out. Not very much. So you have to do a few runs to get a bit of cash at least.
He's been arrested for being knowingly concerned in the exportation of tobacco and for obstruction, and now just go and interview him now. So can it be interviewed under caution? And depending on what he says or he doesn't say, under caution, depending on what we can do, really. So see what he says when we get up there.
At only 3 miles long and a mile wide, nowhere's very far from anywhere else in Gibraltar. Pride of the Police Marine Section Fleet is the Sir Francis Richards, named after a former Gibraltar governor and propelled by 4 300-horse-powered engines with a top speed of over 50 miles per hour. Essential if it's going to have any chance of catching the drug runners' speed machines.
Well, it's about time I had a drive of this thing, innit? I never get to drive this boat.
12-3 Wendy Roger, mate.
Ready, Dale?
Bales of cannabis have been seen floating offshore, and Sergeant Dave Bedder and colleagues, Darryl and Chris, are heading out to investigate.
There might be some suspected packages. Probably could be bales washing up onto Eastern Beach around here.
They've travelled around Gibbs Peninsula to the eastern coast, where winds blowing in off the Med are making conditions rough.
We've got 4 packages, 6 by 3 inches of what they believe is resin.
And they're slabs. Yeah, it's a broken bale. What's probably happened is a bale is broken and the slabs of cannabis have washed up on the beach. We've had a heavily easterly for the last few days. Everything's washing up here. And now some slabs from a broken bale have washed up. I mean, to try and spot a slab, a slab.
Bale that's split up.
Yeah. Trying to spot a slab in this, you'll never find a slab in this water.
A larger bale has broken up and smaller sized slabs have come free. They've been found on the beach. There could be more, but it's like looking for a needle in a field of haystacks.
Oh, what's that over on the rocks over there? You got a few people up there, look, on the top there, look. It's just one that's been smashed on the rocks and broken. Because if not, there'd have been loads of bales washed up by now. The amount of easterly we've had this last week. Then they might have been washed up in the mornings and we just don't see them.
And there's no sign of any of the larger bales either.
We'll slowly patrol back south down, see if we see any bales floating. Unfortunately, with this, we can't get very close to shore. We have limits.
Come along the shoreline, searching, see if we can see anything now.
If you see one, it'll stand out. It's like a light brown plastic that they wrap them in, and then they're in Hessian sacks. They'll stand out, and most of them have got numbers on or letters on to identify the buyers. So they do stand out.
171 from ARV.
Go ahead.
We have a bale up and down Eastern Beach.
Drug squad boss Jerry and his team have also been called out about a suspected package, but theirs is a bit easier to spot.
There's a reason why the British have wanted to keep Gibraltar for well in excess of 300 years. It's very strategically placed when we're talking about the Mediterranean. Whoever controls Gibraltar controls access to the Med from the Atlantic Ocean, so the same can be said about drugs. There is a blind spot created by the rock itself, so they will hide off on the eastern side on the coastline here until the coast is clear. They power up and then make a mad dash across the eastern side of Gibraltar, just off to our left, northbound to Spain behind me. There we go, boys. Yeah, look at that. Excellent. What's happened here is generally the vessels, if they get intercepted by law enforcement, they're very heavy because they have, sometimes upwards of 2 tons of cannabis on board. So they'll start to jettison that cargo with a view to lighten the load and increase their speed. And they sacrifice weight for speed.
It's the easiest drugs bust Jerry and his team will ever make.
There's rope handles on it, and the marking is for the designated recipient of the drugs. The traffickers will tend to carry cargo for a lot of different people, a lot of different recipients, so that marks where that particular bale is going. The text on the bale is basically a postal address. Javi number 9. I don't know who Javi is, I doubt very much that's his actual name, and I don't think that's his age either, I don't think he's 9 years old.
Yes, information. We've had a little check around the end of the runway on the eastern side. Negative results. We're leaving the area.
Copied. Can I ask you to make frequent patrols of the eastern side, including the work site? If we had seen more in the water, or if we had seen more ashore on another beach or something, then I just shut it all down. But at the moment, yeah, but at the moment it's just one, and I don't think we can maintain the level we have.
With the bail secure and the sea search scaled back, one question remains: who's going to do the paperwork? There's only one way to find out.
No, we'll do it fair. Scissors, rock, paper, scissors.
Between the three of us?
What? Between the three of us. Best of three.
You go scissors, okay?
You go. You two giving me my tactics. 1, 2, 3. Oh! Apes together strong. Venga, Colin, it's your bail. Executive decision. Whoever takes a bail, it becomes their case.
Who
lost? Colin, because I chose him.
Right.
Sideways? No.
Don't go up.
Too big.
They're gonna need a bigger bag.
Not even Snoop Dogg could smoke all this. I'm not very good at arts and crafts, so it's like a work of art. Honestly, look at this. The skill is unparalleled.
From drug squad sergeant to a gift wrapper, it's all in a day's work for a Gibraltar cop.
Well, it's somebody who's missing out, that's for sure. That's what, 35 kilos off the streets now? I'm happy with that, I'll take it. 30 grand at the time of purchase and probably about 60, 70 grand now on the streets, so somebody's pockets hurting at the moment.
It's up to Gibraltar's customs force to make sure nothing slips in or out of its territorial waters without them knowing about it. A mystery boat has docked in the port, and Customs Officer Kaylan Rombo and his crew set off to investigate.
We got a call from the RGP control room saying that they've had reports of a vessel we've been inside the harbour. If we can go ourselves and have a look and see what's going on. Hey, Teno.
The boat, a small white cruiser, has no apparent permission. No paperwork has been sent. No one knows what it's doing there, and similar vessels are often used to smuggle hash across the strait from Morocco to Gib. Boats aren't allowed to bob around among all this hardware and fuel without the authorities' permission.
Guido, llama a RGP control por la radio.
It's not clear if the boat's been abandoned.
Hello? Hello, Customs? Yeah? Can you come out, please?
Eventually, its captain appears.
This person has entered Gibraltar. Practically, all they have to do is jump onto land. I mean, they haven't passed customs, they haven't passed immigration, they haven't passed port clearance. But it's clear he's just come in, hasn't really told anyone. This is inside the harbour, inside the port. You can't berth here. Like, when push comes to shove, really, someone would only berth here if they're in distress or they have engine failure or whatever, and they'll actually get permission from the port. So we're just going to get to the bottom of that. And obviously now we're going to have a call to the Gibraltar VTS to see if what he's saying is actually true.
VTS is the port's vessel traffic service. Has it got any more info on the boat? Customs Officer Kaylan and crew have intercepted a mystery boat that has docked without permission.
Maybe you can help me because I was calling and nobody take it.
Channel 71, they'll answer. Basically, he says that he's very, very low on fuel. He claims he's called the port and he's called the Ocean Village Marina Pier Master, and they don't answer, which is a bit unbelievable because they have the radios on all the time, and that's why they have their VHF on. So I've told him in front of me to now turn the VHF on whilst my colleagues check the paperwork. They're going to tell you to call 71.
The paperwork confirms it is the captain's boat.
So basically he says he's waiting to fill up and make his way to Casablanca. And from Casablanca he's going to wait coast all the way down.
136.
Okay.
Where did he say he's going?
To Africa.
Africa.
You have his two nephews and...
So that's pretty much more legitimate, obviously. Africa is just across the straits.
He's run out of fuel on a round trip from Spain to Casablanca in Morocco to pick up his nephews. But that doesn't mean he can dock overnight in Gibraltar.
He can't stay here.
You want the papers también del...
They tell him he has to pay for a berth. So he let him know that he cannot berth here overnight. And he needs to either call the Ocean Village Pier Master or go to La Línea.
La Niña is the nearest Spanish town. Kalen tries the commercial marina, but it's full.
Says that he's run out of fuel, and we've checked the fuel gauge, and it's practically empty. So we've called the port, and the port are now sending the duty port officer down, and they'll basically deal with him. They are ultimately the ones that can actually give him permission to either berth around here overnight or whatever.
Having assessed the unexpected visitor to be very low risk, and with the port officials heading down, the team continue their night patrol. But when the beaches fill up, it means more work for Constable Lee Pozo and the police marine unit patrolling offshore.
I'm originally from Surrey in the UK. My father's Gibraltarian. Life wasn't the best for me back in the UK, so I just moved over here when I was 19. I joined the Gibraltar Regiment. I was there for, like, say, 10 years. And when I was about 29, I left and joined the police. Yeah, I don't think I could really live anywhere else now, to be honest. Beaches are extremely busy. I mean, these two beaches we've just been past here now, Eastern Beach and Catalan Bay, are extremely busy in the summer. A lot of activity in the water. Unfortunately, we get idiots on their vessels that spoil the fun for everybody else.
And when the sun's out, so too is a familiar problem.
Try and keep a life jacket on, yeah?
The jet ski.
So we've got to keep our eye out for jet skis, yeah. Yeah, it's safety at sea, you know, it's your own life. It's like a motorcycle, isn't it? You've got to wear a helmet. You could be the best motorcyclist in the world, and it takes one other idiot, and it's game over.
With top speeds pushing 70 miles an hour, jet skis are sometimes used by hash smugglers to cross from Morocco. And in Gib, every machine must be registered and carry its paperwork on board. And stick to the speed limit near beaches and the harbour.
Good afternoon.
English or Spanish?
Well, Spanish and English.
Okay, just go inside the harbour.
Yeah.
5 knots inside.
I have been. Oh, right. Yeah, around the side. Okay, right. Okay. Inside.
You went inside?
Yeah, sure. I know I did.
Be careful, Dave, in case he doesn't run out.
Is that your jet ski?
Yeah. Did you spring a fine or anything? Or? This is the first time, not a warning.
Will you catch you again?
If we catch you again, then yeah, it will be a fine. And possible lots of jet skis or something.
It turns out it's his dad's jet ski.
All your paperwork's going to be on you all the time, yeah? You got to have it on you all the time.
The law in Spain may be different. No, it's no different. It's just my first year with jet ski. I thought, yeah, well, there's big open space, just give it, just go down. I mean,
what could have happened here is we could have taken the bike in and your man would have had to turn up with paperwork on the boat. I mean, we're going to let you go now, don't worry about it. But in the future, you've got to have it on you because this is what can happen in next time. You lose a jet ski until your old man turns up and claims it.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, I understand.
There you go. Take it easy.
Good afternoon. Okay, it's wet! Sorry.
Oh, dear.
And it's not only jet skis. Divers and their dive captains also need reminding of some basic rules of the sea.
Where's your boy? Where's your marker boy?
He's supposed to have a diver's flag on his boat. The diver himself was supposed to have a marker buoy with him.
A flag? On the boat, a flag? Diver's flag.
You've got a diver.
And he needs to have a buoy on.
The proper safety equipment with it, you know? A flag and a buoy, just to let other sea users know what they're doing. Because you get a lot of fast launches and jet skis up here. He's all in black, you can't see him.
I see that again this summer. He's getting reported. You're at the helm, you'll be reported. Okay? You've got to think safety. People, it's very hard for a boat going fast to see his head.
There's too many idiots at the sea, especially in the summer. And he's in black. Imagine how he's going to get hit, you know what I mean? You have to be careful, man.
Yeah? And be more careful. His boy, he needs to be near where he is, not mine.
I suggest you go and get the boy and bring him down. Bring it down with you.
Okay? This time just a warning.
Yeah.
We've got to be ready. If it happens again, we'll be reported. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good day.
With beach patrols done, the crew head out to deeper waters. Debris from a drug runner's boat has been reported floating offshore.
Yeah, there you go.
With summer temperatures nudging 30 degrees and not a cloud in the sky, Lee and the team are heading to Gib's eastern side.
Scoring the winner in the World Cup final for England, or getting paid 200 grand a week. That's a dream job, you know. But it's a job that comes with perks, and obviously it comes with its downside as well. The downside is, in January, February, it'll be mountainous seas and pouring rain, and you've still got to go out. It's not always, you know, rainbows and butterflies.
The drug-running boats that speed from Morocco to Spain refuel at sea, dumping the empty jerry cans overboard.
These fuel containers, so we're picking up now, they basically refuel the vessel and they're just tossed over the side.
And they're not the easiest things in the world to spot.
A whole line of them down here, 4 of them this way, 5. See them? We've got an easterly today, so it's bringing in whatever gets dumped, gets washed ashore on our eastern coastline. Tobacco and drugs, and I also use other vessels to do the resupplying. But what we're picking up now is just the aftermath of that. Some vessel out there somewhere has been refueled. We've dumped these fuel containers over the side, and here we are picking up their mess.
The containers add to the Mediterranean's growing plastic pollution problem. It's calculated every year over 500,000 tons of plastic are dumped in its waters. That's the equivalent to over 33,000 water bottles every minute of every day.
Seriously, humans must be the worst thing to ever happen to this planet. But yeah, it's quite normal. We see this all the time, unfortunately. We'll take them back to base so they can't be reused.
It's the end of a long shift. Lee and the boys have returned after retrieving the waste jerry cans dumped by the drug-running boats. And the stockpile back at base shows the scale of the plastic problem facing the Med.
So it's just a fraction of what actually gets through. Oh, we can only do what we can, you know. There was loads more on the Spanish side as well, which obviously we couldn't go and get. There's a lot more to it than just drugs from A to B. Especially this part. Particularly this part of Spain. Andalusia is a beautiful part of the world, but very poor, and They've been affected greatly in this area, especially La Linea. La Linea is a very poor place as well. They were affected a lot by the financial crisis in 2008, and they've been affected as well a lot by COVID, you know. I mean, at one point we had youth unemployment in La Linea at 60%, around about that area. I mean, it's a crazy number. And, you know, these people still have bills to pay, you know. I'm not condoning it in any way, but desperation will call for desperate measures, won't it?
We're about to set off on a patrol around British Gibraltar territorial waters. There's been an increase in activity in the last month, maybe, in narco trafficking. We are law enforcement on the waters. We provide or stop any sort of illegal activity, be it smuggling, drugs, or all that sort of thing. Obviously, we've got the Straits and Morocco, where the drugs come into Europe, the shortest route. Comes well within our waters. Sometimes we have to deal with it. They are out there. They're sitting out there in international waters where they can't be seen or found or located. They're normally located when they come close to land, because that's when they become suspicious. Yeah, I see it. Bail is a bail. Oh, mate. What's the man?
John Cartwright and Customs Team Yankee are on patrol in British territorial waters of Gibraltar. And they have spotted drugs.
Right, we've got a bale. We've got a bale, probably about 30 kilos worth of drugs in it. This is obviously due to some sort of chase that's happened overnight or something. And they've jettisoned cargo.
The discarded bale is likely to contain large slabs of cannabis resin.
That's a big one, eh?
Yeah, it is a big one. About 35, 40 kilos worth.
I couldn't bring it up by myself, you know.
Cannabis resin comes from Morocco, then smuggled across the Straits of Gibraltar to Europe in a trade estimated to be worth 8 billion euros a year.
Right, let's look for some more. There might be more. Maybe the king's on it. Because of the chases and that happen overnight or during the day, what the narco ribs tend to do is to lose weight. Sometimes they have to jettison either bales or their fuel containers in order to get a bit faster. If they're getting approached by law enforcement, so they can go a bit faster in order to get away. So we'll keep peeled and fingers crossed we can get a couple more. Looks like maybe an empty bill. They've opened it.
Roger, we are in the area of B6, B7. We just found a wrapper over there. It's quite close to land, so maybe we should look out for vessels in the area that
We've just found a wrapper of one of the bales, which means there's vessels in the area that have found them as well. And they've opened them up and hidden the slabs. It's easy to hide them individually. So there's going to be vessels in the area who are hiding the slabs from the bale packages.
Now it's a race to retrieve any bales of cannabis before the smugglers reclaim them.
There's something at about 11 o'clock. It's a possible bale.
Relax.
This one's a thicker one. That's like the other ones. Para. Go forward. Hey, let's get it with hands. This one will be lighter. There's one over there, Adel.
We go now.
This is a 35 one.
More cannabis. And now they think they've spotted something else floating in the water.
Go straight now. To your left, 11 o'clock. Here. No, that's a petaca. It's a petaca. Fuel can.
It's not cannabis, but it was dumped by smugglers. And customs are looking to seize any fuel they can.
Oh, there's got to be more. There's another petaca over there somewhere. Got it?
And there's more. Some are empty. But several are full. The team don't want to leave any out here.
If we intercept 15 fuel containers, that is disrupted whatever they wanted to do. Another one over there in front of you. I'll reverse. Ali, got it.
After a full sweep, the team return to base.
We'll take them in now, we'll weigh the drugs. We'll check that they are drugs, obviously. What kind of drugs they are.
Customs officer Liam Franco will weigh the drugs to allow the team to determine their street value.
The process now is to weigh the individual bales to see what they weigh. As you can see, this was 37 kilos. And then this one seems to be a bit bigger, so probably closer to 40. Yeah, 43. And this is probably as a result of this morning we had a rib in Gibraltar waters that was being chased by the Spanish authority, and this has probably been as a result of that. They've been jettisoned overboard and they've been floating around in our waters.
And John has done the maths.
That's a total street value of roughly £400,000. It's amazing how much it can be for just 2 bales when these boats can carry 50, 60 bales or whatever else they want to carry. We bagged them, we tagged them for evidence purposes. We'll put them away into a secure area and dispose of them at a later date.
It's been a successful morning of disrupting drug dealers working in the Straits of Gibraltar.
You may be lucky loads of times, but we just have to be lucky once. That luck will take away £4 or £5 million, whatever, fuel for your vessel, whatever it may be. So we just have to be lucky that once. They have to be lucky every time, and Sky will get out of the way of any law enforcement that's out there.
Customs teams at sea have been recovering empty fuel cans dumped from drug smugglers' boats. Some of the canisters float ashore, and Constable Steve Peach is well aware that criminal activity is being organised right on his patch.
Right, so these canisters, they've been disposed of by the people carrying out either tobacco or drug activity, and then the smuggling of that tobacco and drugs. So we're going to go pick them up. Yeah, definitely full of petrol. An empty canister's been disposed of on the beach. Obviously must have been used last night. So these petrol canisters have been disposed of by the persons on these vessels. Obviously they filled up the boat, no longer need them, it's extra weight. They'll just chuck them, you know?
The fuel suppliers are part of a Gibraltar-wide network.
Basically, they come from different locations around Gibraltar.
Drug dealers burn a lot of fuel running hash from Morocco to Spain and pay good money to anyone who can resupply them with petrol out at sea, where customs and police aren't watching.
become its own little business. You know, it's making quite a lot of money on just supplying the containers. Basically, the canisters are help fueling the vessels that are carrying cargo, whether it be drugs or whether it be tobacco or anything else they may try to smuggle in and out of Gibraltar.
Supplying fuel to drug boats has become a lucrative trade and a key part of the drug trafficking chain. So Steve is not the only cop trying to trace the source of these canisters.
Oh, mate. Man.
Earlier on, customs team Yankee seized £400,000 worth of cannabis that was floating in the sea. Now, Executive Officer Arturo Asquez is at a secret location with the seized drugs. Only select members of the customs team have keys to this space. The cannabis they pulled out of the sea is joining the rest that never made it to its intended customers.
As you can see, we've got cannabis from various seizures we've had, be it from chasing vessels out at sea, where they've dumped their cargo over the side and we've had to pick up on our way back, or just been out there and found it afloat.
This is just what they seized in the last few months.
860 kilos worth here. Each of those barrels is just over 30 kilos. These can range anywhere between 25 kilos to, that blue one there's 14, we've had up to 50, just over 50 kilos a barrel.
A large portion of the cannabis here came from one job, a boat sailing in the harbour while its owner pretended to fish.
What basically happened with that vessel in particular is they went across to Morocco. The barrels in that form were loaded onto the boat. So once they come off the shoreline, what they did is they fit some of those barrels in the hull, but so to be able to fit more inside that boat and come across without being noticed, they cut them open and basically put them into what we see here. So each of those are roughly about 100 grams a slab.
But the cannabis can't stay in this small room forever, and neither can Arturo.
At the moment, I'm getting a bit dizzy. But yeah, as you can see, we've got the extractor fans going and everything else, and still the smell is pretty overpowering. So we used to dump it out at sea, but because of the environment and that, it all now gets taken up to the incinerator and burnt.
The drugs will be escorted to their final destination. The smugglers were hoping their cannabis will go up in flames, but not the flames in this place. An industrial incinerator. A final resting place on a long journey from Morocco to Gib.
What a waste of money, eh? Do 3 bags at a time, and it will total up to about 200 kilos. So it'll be a bit of a long-winded process, could take a while. Thank you. As you can see, there's plenty. Yeah, to be fair, like, it is a fraction of what we end up retrieving from sea or from other cases, whether that be at sea or land. I mean, this is not even a quarter of what we're dealing with. And you can just get a good sense of the quantity. So we're going to use 2 days a week for the next month, I believe, to dispose of at least 200 kilos worth of cannabis resin in particular. 0. 14.5. Okay, that's 3. That's the first 3.
That's a lot of money going straight up in smoke.
Further this way, as part of making sure that the process is correct and everything's working correctly. So we've already placed the bags in there to be burned, and myself or other officers will just peek through here to make sure that you can see, yeah, it's all burning correctly.
The team are burning several £1 million worth of cannabis that will never hit the streets of Europe.
Yep, So that's now being burned away. But like I said, that's only 3 bags of 18 that we've got here today. Got it. Got it. Yeah.
In this episode, the suspected dealer in magic mushrooms is on bail while the police await forensic results on the mushrooms which are being analysed in a UK lab. The driver with the jerry cans of fuel is currently in prison on another matter. This matter will be taken up on his release. The car's passenger was bailed pending further inquiries, but so far he has not been charged as he failed to attend his bail meeting.
As a marine unit, we patrol the waters of Gibraltar. We are surrounded by water. We stop any illegal activity, be it smuggling, could be anything from cigarettes to drugs. Another blue lights over there as well. 2 lots of blue lights. We had information that there's probably maybe 4 to 5 small vessels heading in for the smuggling, but I've immediately turned around and headed back. That's because we're being watched and they know exactly where we are. That makes the task all the more difficult. We're just going to hang out, and once we get the info that they're carrying out this task, we'll try and intercept. If this goes on nightly, they're trying to fish us now to see if we're going to react.
Roger that, copy. Then, so that's 3 coming in and 1 already in location.
Get your camera ready because we're going to get a chase for sure now. Roger.
John Cartwright and Gibraltar Customs Team Yankee are on night patrol. They have just spotted a boat they suspect is trying to exit the harbour and cross to Spain with tens of thousands of illicit cigarettes.
Get your camera ready because we're going to get a chase for sure now. Torch, where's torch? Got a torch? Right's good, right's good. Oh, Lola! He's got some boxes. Yeah, he's got boxes. Okay.
The boxes contain tobacco, heading for sale in Spain. Cigarettes are around 30% cheaper in Gib, so there's big profits to be made reselling them there.
Keep him inside, keep him inside. Fire! He's gone, he's gone. 3rd quarter. Keep him there. Fire! That's good, there, keep him there. Stay. Keep him there. Hold on, the water! He's turning. Go. Your side. You're on the edge, minus waters. Cut in.
The boat has sped out of Gibraltar's territorial waters.
So the minute they're behind us, they're zigzagging left and right, and left and right, back and forth, and the minute they get a window, those little things are really nippy, they can go. We've got to get there quick.
But the team think there's a second boat waiting to dock in Gibraltar to load up.
They come in, then they go out that way. Okay, you don't see it back through the cover.
Liam Franco alerts land-based officers.
Roger that, copy. If you see it approaching, just give us a heads up.
Roger.
John suspects the tobacco gangs have spotters in the harbour.
You see, they know we're here. That's why they went back. That's how difficult it is. It's cat and mouse. They won't move now until they know we're gone out the area or at a distance where they can manage to squeeze something in before us attempting to...
Bravo, there's one heading in. One heading. Yeah, roger that, copy, one heading.
Yep, right there, you got it?
That's it, and it's heading in to pick up the tobacco. The smugglers abort. It can't go in and load up as Customs Team Yankee will follow it and arrest the crew on shore. Job done. Tonight the team have prevented at least one smuggling boat from carrying out its mission.
We have limits, so yeah, it's very satisfying when we do actually get some.
Customs officers in Gibraltar's maritime team know firsthand that the pursuit of smugglers on the seas demands a high level of skill. Maneuvering boats in a high-speed chase requires training from experienced officers like Arturo Asquez.
Oh. So basically, Liam's shortly going to become one of our coxswains. So what we're going to do is we're going to take him out, start letting him drive under supervision our bigger vessels and put him through his paces.
I've been the customs officer for 5 years. I've been in the marine section for 5 as well. So the minute I came in, I've been in the marine section, and hopefully I do well. Step on board.
So the plan is to go out there, use our training vessel. So we're going to do, like, just pace it from behind, and then go into a mock chase and see how that goes.
A little nervous, but thankfully, yeah, I've got a good crew behind me, so it should be a successful day, hopefully. Ready to release the bow?
The boss casts off while the trainees set sail in the fastest boat in their fleet.
So all we'll do is we'll go out, follow Tango 3.
Yep.
And just stick behind him, and then we'll do a mock chase.
Sounds good. Taking one of the main interceptors for the first time, so thankfully I've got my executive customs officer next to me, giving me some good tips. Yeah, cross your heart.
Nah, he's pretty good, if not he wouldn't be there.
I prefer standing. That's all right, huh?
Yeah. What you can do is you can grip the seat with your leg.
Yeah, yeah.
Liam's in for a tough time. He's up against another top officer, John Charles, who's in a boat with a checkered history.
So it's a training rib that was confiscated a couple of years ago. Basically, it was allegedly loaded with cannabis. They fouled everything over the side, so jettisoned all the cargo. And if I'm not mistaken, it ended up in Catalan Bay. So they rammed it up the beach, run ashore. So the vessel was then forfeited to the Crown. Cracking little boat. Be a lot of holding on and a lot of bouncing around. So, yeah.
Brace.
Brace, brace, brace. Yeah?
Yep. Yep.
How's it going?
The boat boat is capable of reaching a speed of 50 knots, the equivalent of almost 60 miles an hour.
Stay outside of his wake like you're doing. No further forward from this. Okay, this way he's going to turn around and grab you, yeah? Yep. A little bit closer to him. Not to his wake, in line with way himself.
It's all about getting close without colliding.
Good, well done. Make sure he doesn't slow down too much till we overtake it, yeah? Good. And again. Stay here, so you can't turn. Good, well done. Well done. Good. Same again, drop back a bit. Drop back a bit. Good. Same again. Bring it round to pull. Well done.
Liam is forcing the experienced officer in front to really push his boat to stay ahead.
Yeah, I do feel in control of the situation, for sure. I'm not committed, which is allowing me to get out of a dodgy situation. Once you're up there, that's it. Yeah.
But in the lead boat, John Charles is trying a trick.
He's going to use those vessels, no doubt. So just be aware. This distance, no further back than this. Watch his slow right down. He's probably going to turn to full at last minute. Yeah. There you go. Well done. Careful we don't bring it back round. Good man, well done. Slow it down, slow it down. Good. Well done.
By keeping just close enough, Liam has avoided losing sight of the target amongst the big ships.
Well done. Drop back a bit, drop back a bit. Good.
The aim is to teach officers to safely intercept boats or to prevent them from landing their illicit cargo.
He's going to bring it back round to full. Don't turn yet, don't turn yet.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah?
Yep.
Good man.
I would have overshot it then.
Easy, under control all the time.
Yep.
Suddenly, the chase comes to a halt.
Well done.
Customs officer Liam Franco is being trained to pursue drug smuggling boats on the Strait of Gibraltar.
Good man. Careful we don't go round the other way. A little bit closer to him. Not to his wake, in line with way himself.
The boat he is chasing has stalled.
The bush is gone.
The what has?
The bush is gone.
The bush?
Basically, inside the prop,
Yeah.
what you've got is a mechanism.
Right.
So if the prop hits something, instead of ripping the gearbox off, it's like
Yeah.
a bush, so that goes. It's a coupling.
The pursuit was so intense, the runaway boat has lost the propeller.
So we have to change the propeller on it now. So.
Yeah, broken it. Well done, Liam. Yeah, I swear, everything I'm involved in, something breaks. I'm sick of it.
If that would have been a real-life chase, they would have had to stop their boat and we would have arrested them and taken the boat. Another training boat. So.
The engine's completely bust, so he's not been able to get any power whatsoever. So now we're going to tow him back to base with a side tow.
Happy days. So if we go back now, there's just make sure he gets back safely and then we'll shoot off and do a patrol.
Sounds good. Learned a lot today.
Every day's a learn.
Considering it being a training day, I've had a bit of everything. I've had a bit of chasing, I've had a bit of towing, and it's a good exercise, good training. But yeah, hopefully we can get this vessel up and running again pretty soon to continue our training.
When we'll get back, you'll be learning how to make a perfect cup of tea as well. Right then, let's wash the boat down.
9 miles of sea separate Gibraltar from Africa, and migrants regularly try to make the crossing in the hope of entering Spain and the rest of Europe. they don't always make it alive.
Unfortunately, over recent weeks, we've been getting more and more. Obviously, the weather starts getting better and more people try and come across the straits. To be fair, they normally try and aim for mainland Spain, because obviously once they're in Spain, they're in Europe and they're free to roam around as best they can, or a lot easier for them to roam around. But every so often, certainly over the past couple of weeks, we've had a good 4 or 5 incidents where we've had to go and recover immigrants. When we do go out on a call like that, totally expect the unexpected. We don't know if we're going to get any people that have already passed away when we get there, any children on board, which is really, really scary.
So when a call comes into customs, it could be a matter of life and death. A boat has been reported in trouble 3 miles off Europa Point. It's made of wood and has no engine. It's sinking. John, Arturo, and the team drop everything and scramble to the rescue. It's clear the boat is sinking fast, so the crew have to act quickly to save those on board.
We've sort of assessed by vision, so to speak, and seeing who would like possibly be hypothermic but not responding so much. I think that they're shivering, they're okay-ish, you know, because that's your body's reaction to try and give your body some heat.
Luckily, we carry a pretty extensive first aid kit on board, and like space blankets and all the other equipment we need to deal with situations like that. So straight away we just brought them on board, wrapped them up in space blankets.
The 5 men are rushed back for medical assessment. Then it's over to the police and immigration authorities to decide their fate.
I've come across that immigrants a few times now. Not everyone has been alive in that situation, but fortunately in this situation, all 5 were saved, so thumbs up to the lads, really.
It's good that we know we've saved a few lives, but at the same time, we know that they must be really, really desperate to put themselves in that situation in the first place. So, yeah, it's a brilliant feeling of saving someone's life. But at the same time, it makes you realise how lucky we are here in where we live.
Calls like this remind John and his colleagues why they serve in the Customs Maritime Unit.
Many jobs you have get monotonous. In this case, no monotony, because no 2 days are the same. And one day it's immigrants, next day it's rescuing a vessel, maybe sinking. Next day it's drugs, it's smuggling, it's going out on the road and helping out with one of the colleagues that may be in distress or whatever. So no 2 days are the same.
In this episode, 2 of the 5 migrants rescued from the sinking boat by customs officers have been deported. 3 are still awaiting In 2020, nearly 280 million tons of goods passed through Gibraltar waters. With so many boats traveling in,
I don't think it's this one, though.
The authorities have to operate with strict regulations.
It's bringing fish, no? You can smell it.
Today, Customs Officer Trevor Martinez and his colleague Stefan are inspecting some of the boats at the docks.
So it must be this one. Hi, Customs to come on board.
The ship, which carries supplies and transports crew members to oil rigs, has come from Dubai, stopping in Gibraltar to refuel.
How long do you intend to stay in Gibraltar? 2, 3 hours, 4 hours?
About 2 hours.
2 hours, huh?
Yes, that's it.
Trevor's mission is to ensure there is no illicit cargo on board and that the correct paperwork is completed.
Any firearms on board?
Yeah.
Yes?
What's your name?
Firearms, rifles, weapons of mass destruction, grenades? None, no?
Yeah.
But he is finding it difficult to get a straight answer to a straight question.
Narcotics or medicines? Narcotics, none, no? Medicines?
Ship medicine.
Ship medicine. Who speaks better? Because I think there might be a bit of a language barrier.
Yes. Yeah, I get your point, but no problem. I am a little bit, no problem. Go ahead.
No, okay.
Yes, I go ahead.
I don't know whether it's that you're not understanding me or whether
Yeah.
the questions are putting you uncomfortable. You understand what I mean?
Yes, I will.
With communication clearly an issue with the crew,
Can I have a look around?
Okay.
Yeah? No, show me around. I'm just curious to see the layouts.
Trevor needs to inspect the ship himself.
Is this where you keep all the medicines?
And soon finds the medical supply storeroom completely unsecured.
Should be in the lock and key.
Oh, no. This is only for, we need everything but mine.
Okay, but it still should be under lock and key as per maritime regulations.
Yeah.
You got somewhere you can put it?
Yeah.
The supply cupboard is full of medicines, which isn't unusual for ships out at sea for long periods. But there is no lock on the door, meaning that anyone can help themselves to prescription drugs.
They don't seem to be able to answer my questions in a concrete manner. And we found the hospital, the medical bay, and it's wide open. The drugs are not under lock and key, which is obviously should be under maritime regulations.
Maritime regulations are laws for seaborne trade, and Trevor is a stickler to ensure they are followed. Up on the top deck, they make an even more shocking discovery.
Why is this here and not downstairs?
This is all new coming from Dubai. And I make a list, but I must transit one by one. This medicine for what? This medicine for what? Like that. So this is my job.
More medication has been found completely unsecured. Trevor is growing concerned with the crew's apparently chaotic storage.
You got it in Dubai. How many days ago was this?
20...
Long time.
24. It's a long time, maybe 2
It's a long time.
And cagey explanations.
We come back to the same thing. It needs to be under lock and key. I know you're sorting it, but you've told me you left Dubai 20 days ago.
Yeah.
You had enough time to sort it.
But Trevor's colleague Stefan may have found a solution.
They can't find the key. There's a room beside.
That they can lock. We'll do that, yeah. It's the only workaround.
With all the medication now locked securely in the cabin, and the captain in charge of the key.
Okay, thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
And with all the paperwork and cargo accounted for, Trevor is satisfied the ship can be on its way.
How they've operated today, I would say that they've been a bit lackadaisical. It seemed like they didn't have a clue. It's just been a case of a slap on the wrist, a verbal warning. But if they commit the same act, I would probably be more inclined for maybe a fixed fine